Hey everybody, so today what we're going to do is talk a little bit about hard drive encryptions. And since we at LabFix are not only just a computer repair store, we also do liquid spills and we do component level repairs, we do micro soldering, do all that stuff. We also are a data recovery center and we do lots of data recoveries. We have the clean room. We also have ways to do head replacements. We also have a PC3000. And we also have lots of other tools that we can actually do for data recovery. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely check out the links in the description below. We want to talk a little bit about hard drive encryptions and just kind of what a few of them are and what you should probably be using. And just to make you be aware of, especially because it's your data, it's very sensitive, you want to make sure that other people can access it. So first of all, this isn't like just putting a password on a Windows and then making sure no one else can really enter in your actual operating system, which is actually, by the way, still very good. You can at least put a Windows password on there to keep your drives and data a little bit more secure with that, so it's just not easy for anyone to access it. But there still are ways that you can still access it even though you don't have the password. You can still access it other ways via other like bootable devices or any other type of way that you might think, especially if you're one of those people who want to go on a higher level. Maybe you're very familiar with command prompts. You want to go a little bit further than that. And there's lots of ways you can break it. So what you want to do mainly is encrypt your drives if you really feel that your data is very necessary to encrypt. The only thing is with some of these ways, there are ways where you can encrypt it so well that if you don't have a password or if you're not sure of what the keys may be, or maybe you lost the password or anything else, you'd be locking yourself out as well. So always just be aware of that, especially if its data is very important. If you do lose that recovery key or password or anything like that, then you're going to lock yourself out just as well as you lock someone else out. So let's just start with the first one. It's a hard drive based encryption. It's more of a hardware way of encrypting your data, and this is called actually a TPM, and this is a hard drive based encryption. And what it's going to do is it's going to be there's a dedicated chip that's actually on your motherboard of any typical like Windows laptop, like a Dell, HP, or any of those. And it generates encryption keys and stores it actually on the dedicated chip itself. So what this is going to do, it's going to help prevent people who are trying to tamper with your device or maybe remove the drive and then plug it into maybe another computer or something like that, or try to crack the password or anything like that. So it's definitely more of a hardware-based encryption. This you can check to see if you actually do have this on your motherboard. You can go check in the BIOS and see if you see anything called TPM, and usually it's turned on by default. But you can also see that maybe it's turned off if you wanted to turn off yourself. You don't want to do a hardware-based encryption. Another way is a file-level encryption. This could be based on maybe you want to pick a specific folder on your desktop or in your pictures folder that you don't want anyone to see, or especially your homework folder that you don't want anyone to see. You can do anything like that, or anything that's very private to you. You can right click, you can go to properties on the specific folder that you want, and you can go to advanced attributes, and you can actually go check it out that there is actually a way to maybe put encryption actually on the actual drive itself. You can also, if you want to send a folder, or you want to send a folder via email or anything like that, you can also make it into a zip file, and you can put a password on there, which will help more encrypt your files. That's the one that you're sending, especially if you're sending it over email. I mean, it wouldn't be recommended you sending important files or files that you see that need to be encrypted over email. That's not a good way to do it. But maybe it's a way just to transfer, especially from Google Drive, or maybe from Google Drive or through USB if you just want to transfer to like a friend, or maybe transfer back to yourself. So that's another way to do that. You can actually you can right click it and just hit compress this file for zipping, and then it'll prompt you if you want to have a password or not on there. So you can do that. A really popular one I'm sure everyone's very aware of, probably watching this video, you probably definitely have an awareness of it, or you may be thinking of how to remove this one, and this is called a Bitlocker. This is tied directly into Microsoft Windows itself, and you can enable it you can actually just search it in the settings. You can go to Bitlocker and see if you want to manage the settings of the Bitlocker. This is directly tied to your Microsoft account. We have been seeing some people that actually don't realize that they have one installed on a lot of their drives or devices. If you have that recovery key, you always make sure you do have that readily available. We have a lot of people that come in here, they're not even sure what their recovery key is. You could do lots of data recovery and still have a problem with that. Even if you do a head replacement, you can still have a Bitlocker that goes on top of it. And if you don't know that recovery key, there's not a whole lot anyone can really do to help you out with your encryption. It's a very good one if you want to make sure if you lose your device, there's no one else going to be able to access it. So definitely keep it handy. Be very sure, please people, very sure if you need it, put it on there. If you don't need it, don't put it on there, because it's very easy. We've seen so many people that lock themselves out and they're not even aware that they had it. Just please be aware of that. But it should be tied to your Microsoft account anyway. You can go check it out in the Microsoft settings. There's also a BitLocker recovery for like a USB. You can do it. It's the same type of way, same way it works. You can put maybe a pin on it, and you can just lock out a USB for anything for data recovery. We've seen a few of them in the store here with that. The thing is, unless you know it, again, it's the same process as regular Windows recovery key. If you don't know that recovery key, then there's not really a whole lot anyone can really do for you. Another encryption that's actually pretty interesting is the one that's based on macOS. And for all the macOS users out there, since Catalina has come out, if you install a brand new operating system with at least Catalina and above, this comes with encryption that's already enabled by default. So by default, you're not able to boot from any type of external devices there. Or if you want to even boot to the recovery and access your data or anything else like that, even just the recovery, sometimes they can give you problems just accessing it as well. If you want to boot maybe an external drive, load a new operating system on, you want to make sure you turn that off if that's something that you want to do. Otherwise, if you're just want people not to access your data or anything like that, you don't want to be using other external drives, make sure you do remember your password, because this is something, again, you can lock yourself out and have a lot of trouble. Some can be tied into your actual Apple ID, and you can try to get it through that way. But if you do forget that one, it's going to be definitely much more difficult, especially because it's an encryption drive on that. You can turn it on and off if you like. There's always ways to do it, especially if you know your password. It's not difficult to do, but it's just another encryption thing that's just it's a good way to encrypt your drive, especially it's a little bit more basic and it's not super into it, but it's a good way that Apple at least puts that on there for default for most people. It's a good way to lock yourself out, but if you're locking other people out and you know your passwords and everything, then you should be fine, and this is a very nice actual encryption. And so something like this, the last one we're going to talk about is more of a hardware-based encryption that is actually on the Western Digital hard drives in particular. All the external USB drives from Western Digital do come with a hardware-based encryption. This is a 256-bit AES encryption, which is the advanced encryption standard. The 256 is the key size for that, and what it also does relate to is the longer the key is, the harder it is to decrypt, and the harder it is for a hacker to actually decrypt as well. So you think of something like that, especially if you don't know your passwords and you're coming for data recovery, especially for a Western Digital hard drive, those are just another layer of protections that do go on the actual hard drive itself. And again, it's not password-based, it's more of a hardware-based encryption. So they do have more defenses that are actually on their drive itself. That's just kind of a rundown of just the basic types of encryptions that you might see. Some are software-based, some are hardware-based. Anything like that, if your data is very important and you have a lot of people around you maybe, or a lot of people that can possibly access your data, maybe it's definitely a way to go for that. Always make sure that you do have any keys or passwords that are part of the hard drive, so you can at least have that for yourself, especially if you have a BitLocker. Always make sure you do keep that key handy. Or sometimes even when you tamper with a device and you make a settings change, it can possibly do that in the BIOS. It can bring up that blue screen and you'll see BitLocker and you'll just love that day. If you really have sensitive information, just always be careful, because the internet is a dangerous and crazy place, and there is no type of encryption that is perfect, and there is no type of password that is perfect. So your data is always, anything that you put in the internet or anything that's connected to the internet device has a chance to be hacked or a chance to be seen by someone else. So just always keep that in mind and try to keep your data safe and as local as you can. If you have very important data, definitely keep a double backup of something. Maybe just put a password on the one drive and then keep the other one in a lock box or an old-fashioned key and lock. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Just found this very quick, informative video just on hard drives and the different levels of encryption. Again, we're a data recovery center, just showing you guys what we do see here, and just to talk a little bit about what we do and what we can see here. If you're ever interested, we have all of our links in the description below. Check them out. Subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell when we upload and you'll know right away. And thanks a lot for watching. Bye.